Step right up, it's time to hear the cleverest show of the year. AI catch-up, brighter tone, every week in your living room.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, guys.
What's up, guys?
Good to see you guys. Glad to be on the catch-up again.
Yeah, it's a great place to be on the AI catch-up.
So we're talking Manus today, right?
We're talking Manus today. So initially, we kicked around the idea of doing VO3, and then I think we realized we can do VO3 inside of Manus because, quite honestly, VO3 gives you 8-second videos, and we wondered how we'd stretch 8 seconds into 30 minutes.
Well, and VO is also hard to get a hold of right now, and it's pretty expensive subscription. So I kind of feel like using it inside of Manus is a solid little hack to get access to it without spending a bunch of money.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, gentlemen, should we start to look at Manus?
Yes.
All right. So for anyone that's never heard of Manus, what is it, right? Manus.im, like instant message. It's not an instant message platform. Manus.im looks a bit like ChatGPT in that it has a window where you can type into it. What's different is that there's a token amount. So in some of these large language models, it was like you paid by the token as if you were going to connect it to your business. This is like connecting it to tokens to get more searches. So it's a very project-focused software. You get free credits, right? So you get some daily, you get some monthly, you get some for free. Right, and every day you get another free 300. And this is a brand new account. So this is for our AI catch-up. Let's just tour around and see what you can do. You can upload files. You can do it through Google Drive or Microsoft. You can do a high effort, right, which is in beta stage, which is to say it's new, and that's only for pro users. We're not using a pro account right here. We're on standard. You can create things, okay, and it's like you can make a picture, you can design a presentation, you can design slides, right? That's with the create feature. You can analyze. So think about getting financial models or data from the web or statistics or analysis or scheduling. You can research. So think about going to websites, going to documents, going across the web, broadly speaking, and then narrowly speaking. And then you can code, right? So think about doing anything that you want that includes an application or some advanced form. And then through Manus, what ends up happening is you get a very layered approach. I wonder, guys, if the best way to show Manus is to sort of show it in its full form. So I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to present a different screen here. I'm going to present the window that has this one in it. So Brooks, if you want to click that one through. All right, so this is a complete Manus project, or at least a Manus project that's well underway. So Dr. Harvey, who for a couple weeks he's booked up, but is normally one of the hosts of the AI catch-up, together we're making a book. So we asked about the book and the business ecosystem that were Harvey and Brad, and it's a combination of chats. So I went to Claude, right? And I went to ChatGPT, right? And I had some chats about it. I brought them here. I gave it our websites. I pasted in some context. And then it said it's going to help me build the project that I asked, right? This could be anything. Ladies and gentlemen, it could be really anything at all. But in this case, it's a book and a business. And so what Manus does is it details what it's doing. It says it's reading this file, it's reading that file. It browses these websites. It tells you it's scrolling through it, right? It gives you the play-by-play of what it's doing. It completes an initial analysis. We're going to get maybe from the guys in the room a suggestion, right? But just so you can see the completed output. The completed output ends up being all these files. So at the top, there's a button that says view all the files in this task. So the task is the whole activity at hand. So the entire chat as a set is a task. So we've been given it a task. And you can see here, the project has created all these documents, right? So Manus has gone out and created these different files, right? And then if I asked it to create images, it would have. Had I asked it to create code, it would have. And then not only that, it made a website. Just let me say that again. I'll take it off screen for a second. Manus made me a website. So in the process of saying, here's what we want to do, it made a URL. So you can see it. I think I can zoom in. No, I can't zoom into the URL, but it's some letters.manus.space, right? And it made me this landing page to talk about the authors, the experts, the ecosystem, the partnerships, etc. So when someone says, why am I using Manus? You're using Manus because it can make you a website. It can make you computer code. It can make you images, and it can make you documents, all from a prompt, right? All in the same ecosystem. And it seems to be a much stronger output. Brooks, what's been your experience using Manus?
I've made a few things with it. So I've made some pitch decks, and those have been really actually surprisingly good. And I've made a couple of websites with it too.
Okay.
I think it's been pretty strong in both. And the nice thing is it gives you the output that you can use and give to a developer if you wanted to host it yourself instead of being in Manus. Or if you know how to do those things, you could easily export it and set up your site on your own as well.
Brad, what did you think about the Manus output compared to normal ChatGPT output for your project?
Well, Michael, it's a lot more business focused. That's a really good question. So in all of the different tools that we tend to use here on the AI catch up and in other platforms and spaces, all these tools have different features and different reasons to use each. Manus seems to give you a very, very, very professional output. ChatGPT is chatty. Claude seems to be a bit stuck up, but sometimes it can be detailed in the right order. Gemini seems to be almost purely a research voice. Grok at times feels very fast and loose. And Perplexity is almost like exactly a Wikipedia article. Whereas Manus seems like you got a business project report. So you might want to put a little bit more color or life into it. David, has that been your experience with Manus? Do you find that true?
Yeah, yes. I'm a little spoiled with Gamma on the, just colorful and ease of use on the presentation side. But I am trying to, whether it's Manus, and Manus is a solid product because now I hear about all the Manus killers, which sometimes that's more people talking. I know GenSpark that will feature on future shows is one. And then I met someone when I was up at Human's event that said he had a Manus killer. So I just see a lot from this space where it is, right? Like all in one almost like the Microsoft Office of AIs, right?
So you generated a bunch of content from your posts with integrations to other sites. Are you able to have it automatically generate content around your business? Like if you wanted to create a video for Crazy Dumb Food, would it just automatically do that? Would the AI agents run? I guess depending on the integrations.
That's a really good question, Michael. Would it create a video? I think we should see if this version of Manus can create us a video. What's a video we could do easily? And the reason I hesitate there is because that folder and that project I don't want to disrupt with experiments, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. But could it make videos? I know it can. One of my open screens here, let me see if I can switch. Brooks, I have to keep changing the screen I'm presenting because these are.
I'm wondering if we could do like a ketchup bottle or something.
Well, Michael, you had sent us earlier when we were going to talk about VO. You'd sent earlier a prompt, right? And you said to try. I'll show you guys the prompt here. Yeah, here we go. So you sent this to me earlier. You said you texted this, generate a hyper-realistic shot of a pirate speaking to his video log camera on a stormy deck, right? And that's the output. So I pasted that into Manus, right? And the prompt I used in Manus, for anyone that has Manus and wants to get video out of it, it was generate a short cinematic video. So telling it to create a video, that was the key. So I did so. I will say for those who watch the feed, you'll see it said failed a couple times. I didn't flinch on that. I said, oh, it'll get there. And here's what it came with, right? So
this is the Google VO3 that it's using, right?
That's right, Brooks, because I use the pro version. It said you can spend extra credits and you'll get the full version of VO3. So I said yes.
I love it. He's got his vlog camera in his hand.
Now, could you guys hear that?
No.
No.
Hmm.
I don't know if StreamYard allows you to share with sound.
Let me see one more time. Oh, I have to select a tab, and if I select a tab, it will.
Oh,
there's your
there I
answer.
see. Yeah.
You guys want to share the Stormtrooper vlogs that people are creating? Well, I guess that I guess you can't. You could do that with. That's separate. Well, I guess we can save that or shelve that. But
yeah,
yeah.
Brooks, if you can share the tab that I've got shared there. There we go. So this should have audio. So for anybody that wonders why you're using Manus, well, I didn't have to subscribe to VO3 to get VO3. There's one cool reason.
Ain't no storm strong enough to sink me.
Now, I will say it's not perfect because, number one, the prompt was to be filming with a handheld camera instead of just showed a handheld camera. Two, it said to have no captions. It made captions. So it's not perfect, right? It didn't get all the details right, but I mean, we're nitpicking. This is pretty much magic. You know, it's amazing to get this. This used to be an 8-second insert in a video game, and it would have cost, you know, like $1 million a minute to make this. So this would have been like $120,000 to make that. Like a few years ago, this is a $100,000 render of lightning, facial movements, voice, motion, cohesion, colors, rain.
Ain't no storm strong enough to sink me.
Right? Like the beauty of this is that the horizon and the boat and the character all match in unison. So like there's a lot of really impressive features going on simultaneously with Manus. So Manus is not just about making videos or using videos. I could say, you know, write the video game project description, including platform, Nintendo, Sony, to pitch a major AAA studio, right? Do an entire brief project, right? And that would be like business brief, not brevity. So just so we can see how long these things take, or is it, hold on a second here. Is it going to generate a video? No. Okay, it's going to format the brief as a markdown product. Here we go. Okay. I was going to say, if we're going to make a video of a pitch, that would be next level impressive. If it was going to get the pirate pitching the studio.
It pitches itself and gets funding.
Right. So it's drafting an executive summary, right? And I didn't say this was a video game. It just looked like one. I thought I was going to get a more realistic looking pirate. I'm going to stop share and reshare so I can share different things here, because that was just the tab. So if I go back to share screen, share window, there we go. Do you want to share that again, Brooks? So while we're waiting for this, I'll just show anybody that wanted to see a different bit of video, because some of these softwares, they take time, and it's helpful to see in real time how long they take. Because when people on these demonstration videos, when they fast forward through things, you don't always get a sense of how long it actually takes, right? To see, you can do different things on the side. So, I might have to log in here. That should get me there. So this is a different software. Again, we're just waiting for Manus.
Brad, which tool do you use to generate prompts usually so that you could plug those prompts into Manus? Are you usually using ChatGPT, or what's your go-to prompt?
ChatGPT, Michael. I'm using ChatGPT. So I use the exact same prompt. And what you notice here with Dream Machine is that it like highlighted pairings, rugged pirate captain, soaked black tricorn hat. You can see that it like grouped these words together. But look at the difference. This looks like it's a deleted scene from Johnny Depp's Pirates of the Caribbean.
For sure.
Right? And that took the same thing, just for context. So, Michael, I use ChatGPT to make those prompts. And then look at this. We're 2/3 of the way. We're 3/3 of the way there. Perfect. That was good timing. So when you're using Manus, there's a button up here in the corner I can close, or I could download that pirate selfie video. So I could close that. And what I could do is I could watch what's going on by clicking this arrow here, and it says, you know, I'm going to watch his computer, right? I clicked the little preview window and those 2 arrows, and now I can see what is happening in this Manus computer. Now, Brooks, you might know the answer to this. I'm pretty sure using Manus does not use up your computer's brain power or RAM.
No, a lot of these, what they're doing is they're like spinning up like a little mini desktop environment that's being used inside of Manus. So when you see like on the right there, you can tell that that's Ubuntu, that's a Linux server that it's using. So it's generating and writing its own code and creating all of this stuff within that little sandbox just for your Manus session.
Yeah. So basically, on a different computer in a different room in a different city somewhere else, they're running this version of a desktop software, and their system is running this search to create documents and files, etc. So here we go. It says Manus has completed the current task. So I get this project brief, right? When I click it, I get this echoes of Aethelgard. I don't know why. Oh my goodness, right? But nonetheless, it says Sony, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and then it gives me a game concept, the way that the gameplay would happen, the abilities, the world and lore, the target audience, right? It's a really comprehensive document, right? And Manus is really strong at outputting a more cohesive product, like a project software, than any of the other softwares.
Well, you can almost set up an entire campaign. So say you have an existing brand and you need to set up a marketing campaign for a new product. It could do all of the assets, the video, all of the copy, a website, a landing page. It could do all of that just in a single prompt when you ask it.
Well, I just did that as you said that, set up the entire campaign. And then it said, provide more details. What are the details we should give, gentlemen?
Maybe user-generated content campaign to make the content go viral on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay. All right, let's do it. User-generated content campaign, TikTok, Instagram, goal of going viral. So it's going to make a strategy, guidelines, promotional, and monitoring plans. So for anybody making any kind of project, the best part is you don't even have to know the steps that you should take. You can say, like, what steps should I take? You know, here, just as long as you have a goal, you can say, I want to get here. So the cool thing is, now that we've started this, up here at the top, you can say view all files in this task. Now I've got my pirate selfie video, my project brief for this name of it, Echoes of Aethelgard, amazing, right? And the documents is the brief. There's no images yet or code files or links, but nonetheless, I can download those as a pack or individually, right? And it's a really hot software. I just think for using all of the tools in conjunction, try it out. See if it's doing something for you that the other ones aren't. Has anyone else used this software?
It's crazy. I mean, I haven't dug into it as deep as I should, because every time someone shows it, I'm like, oh, I got to spend time on that. But it's great. And is there a reason, by the way, Brad, you used ChatGPT to do the prompt? Like, did you find that that prompt thing's better, or you just happen to be, used as your main LLM?
Good question, David. You know what? Michael sent it as a text, and I think I just hit paste into ChatGPT on my phone. Just it was quick.
Got it.
But I don't discriminate. I use between 5 and 6 of these tools at a time. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, Ithi, Manus, Perplexity, and more.
And for the listeners, I mean, don't think they're all the same, because they are different. So if we put this in and used a prompt from ChatGPT, and then may not have given it exactly what I want, you may want to go to Grok or to Claude and say, hey, I tried this prompt. I didn't get the result I wanted. It gave me X and I got Y. Can you refine the prompt? Right? So I think just using the LLMs that way is just a great strategy.
Yeah. Now, I think there's a key differentiator here, because inside of those other tools we just mentioned, Grok, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, and ChatGPT specifically, those language model softwares, each of them in their own way has a project or folder that inside that folder I can make images, I can make documents. So someone would say, well, why am I going to Manus if I can do those inside the other ones? I wonder if anyone has that answer as to why you would use Manus over the other softwares that have those project files.
I mean, I would say that, things like GenSpark, Manus, and Gamma are kind of similar. They're sort of trying to compete in a similar space. And where we're going to see differentiations is going to be in their backend prompts of how it handles things, as well as like the features. For instance, this one has VO3. I don't think that Gamma has that currently. And so that's to me, that's a really interesting reason to use this as opposed to some other things if you're trying to generate videos with that. And an example of that is that, to get the access to Google VO3, it's like $250 a month to get on the Pro plan right now just to access it.
Yeah. $250 a month is a lot of wager on a project that you're doing. I think part of the reason to use Manus is that because it goes out and performs these actions for you very smoothly, making the files, making the cohesive project, creating websites. The thing is, even as we say this, it's the 11th of June in 2025. There are so many updates to this, great group of softwares that you can hardly say that the other ones aren't going to do this by tomorrow.
Right.
But nonetheless, I think it's very helpful to catch people up on what these tools are. And I think that's the reason why we do the catch up, is to say, look, at some point, people need for their individual or team or business to catch up on AI software. And that's what we do here, is we just show you very slowly, as if you've never seen it before. What do they do? How can we catch up? What's going on? And Brooks, I know you're working on a Manus course too.
Yes, I'll have that published by the end of this week, actually. Because they introduced the VO3 recently, I didn't have a chance to quite finish it for this week. So I'll be integrating that into the course as well.
Amazing.
So look at this. Oh, David, jump in.
No, I was just going to say that so many of these things are, and if people made it here, maybe they're kind of a little ahead, even if they think they're starting at zero. But so many, I mean, I just heard somebody talk about Visla the other day. I haven't looked at Visla for probably a year, but it's gotten better. I don't know if anybody used Visla here, but just the great thing with that is, and that was kind of maybe the first video maker I used. It was really in one of our sustainability climate change communities. Somebody was just trying to articulate a point they were talking about how you could use the earth, the ocean, bottom of the ocean, to help cool the earth for climate change and so on. No one could understand what they were saying. They're like, oh, let me throw it in Visla. Then it just created a video explaining the whole thing. So I think that's just a great use,
I'm pretty sure this will let you like drop in your PowerPoints to do that, right?
Right. Yeah, I think you can now. Right. Like I said, I haven't used it for like a year. This seems like 10 years, regular time or whatever.
Yeah, we're for sure in dog years right now when it comes to AI.
Exactly.
So as you can see, we asked for, based on Michael's suggestion, a viral content campaign, and it gave me a summary, goals and objectives with awareness and reach, engagement and interaction, conversion and acquisition, how to get customers, how to analyze who I should target, the behavior and demographics of a TikTok audience, same for an Instagram audience, a graph that understands the psychology of the gaming audience in those spaces, a conceptualization of the campaign and the way to hook people, a theme. Okay, and I mean, we didn't go specific. Had we gone specific and gave specific instructions, it would have. So you're not just at the mercy of a blind spin of the wheel here, but nonetheless, specific to each platform, hooks and then challenges, right? How to get people to interact, why it works, right? So what's the concept? How we can actually do it? A second and a third, a strategy for hashtags, which is mixing as a theory between the brand, the niche, and the trend. Secondary campaigns, things about the genre, legal considerations and guidelines, legal and usage rights, calls to action, right? I mean, like, this is a pretty impressive software that I don't think you get the same quality of in others. And it goes on for, what is this, 15 or 16 pages. The cool thing is you can download this, right? I could download it and I could take it over to the ChatGPT and then say, we made a game and then is this good, right? And then you can check it out, because sometimes you say, yeah, but Brad or Michael or David or Brooks, did you guys actually read that? You can also get a couple of these tools to read it for you. You could do that 5 or 6 times in the different tools if it really matters. And then say, are there any major places for enhancement? And if it's really strong, then you can dedicate the time to read it. But Manus does this over and over again, right? It does this continuously. And this is just scratching the surface. This shows you how these softwares can amplify what is just a conceptual idea. Michael texted me this morning, hey, what about a pirate video? And then I was like, okay, here's the prompt, here's the pirate video. Then from the pirate video, it's like, could this be a video game? How would we market this to people? It took less than 27 minutes. We can see the timer up here on our screen. We've been talking about this for a minuscule amount of time. And these softwares help you take your idea, express it visually, maybe an 8-second video, scope it out, and then move it into a document that you could show people, or at least a document you could share and go, let's find the details here. Had we been serious about creating a pirate video game that wasn't egregiously copyright infringement on Pirates of the Caribbean, which we're very aware of, it's very comedic. We would not go out and make a Pirates clone while they still own the rights to it at Disney. Nonetheless, anything that you're doing that has a business brief, a plan, an outline that generates a theory or a strategy, consider going to Manus. And if you're not sure after this video of how to get into that software, consider going to Brooks via the Catch-Up website, the AI Catch-Up-Live website, and see how we could teach you to use these tools in a very effective way. You can even use the free versions. You can use the daily tokens and say, how can I transform my thoughts, my business needs, my small business needs, my enterprise needs, or my group or team needs, and turn it into something amazing? Because we just scratched the surface of the features. In all these catch-up videos, we aim to just show you guys in the audience that it's possible to catch you up from zero. I've never heard of this before. People say that word. What does it do?
Yeah, and I think it allows you to execute faster and get your ideas out there quicker and get feedback on them so that you can keep moving forward. A lot of these things would have taken, a few days, a week to do before, and maybe a committee of people talking about it. And I think it's really important to bounce this across the different LLMs to get their perspective and feedback, because they're all slightly different. They all have a different kind of angle, how they're looking at things. And all of these companies are, all trying to race to, be number one.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, I
And
feel like
it's,
we're sort of in like the original Facebook era where people were at Starbucks on Facebook, right? But now people are on ChatGPT at Facebook, on at Starbucks, right? Instead of on
right.
Facebook. So we're like in a really different era when it comes to things like that.
Yeah.
They're probably on ChatGPT at Facebook too.
Of course.
At the headquarters. Yeah. So for anybody that wants to learn more, reach out to us through the Ketchup website or on social media. We're all very accessible, and we're very happy to help you or your team or your group or your company understand this software or other softwares. You know, amongst the group of us, including Dr. Harvey, who's away for a couple weeks with business at this time slot. We're always available for suggestions on what to cover next on the catch up, because we want to support the people who are watching and say, what softwares would you love to catch up on? What do you want to go from scratch to, like, at least now I understand what's going on with it? I really strongly emphasize that in 2025, if you're not at least trying a handful of AI softwares, anyone that's competing with you will be perhaps months ahead in output by the end of the week. And that used to sound like hyperbole. It used to sound like a very broad exaggeration of capabilities. But today, it is literally true that in 3 days' time, someone would be months ahead of classic workflow in terms of going from idea to a website with a video, with a social media plan, with images, with accounts, with posts all scheduled. This is now like a 72-hour project of what used to be a 7 to 10 month activity. And I can say that because a few years ago I did that over the course of 7 to 10 months, made websites and copy and promotional material, and it costs hours and it costs dollars, and these things cost pennies and they cost minutes.
For sure. I know somebody just emailed me today, oh, I need to get up a quick website. Do you know anybody who does it? And I said, you know, definitely if you want to hire someone, let me find out. But here's Gamma, and here's other tools, right? Manus, you could just pop in and do it. So
yeah. Interesting from the comments, I see Michael in the comments says, why am I giving my cell phone out for verification? Pass. Well, it is true that I did give my phone number out for verification, but at the same time, I can't fathom being concerned about my email or phone number going out to a company in 2025 when all of the major softwares have all this information about you immediately. So while I can't guarantee what they do with your cell phone number, I will say that Facebook has your cell phone number. Google almost certainly has your cell phone number. Anybody who puts their business online, their cell phone number is there. So personally and professionally, Michael, because you asked the question, I am personally not at all concerned. Are you guys ever concerned about a major software like Manus having your phone number?
well, maybe it's being naive too. Michael's a CISSP and a CRISC, CRISC. So I think we may have to listen to him. So I do think, though, that while I agree with you, Brad, all the info's probably out there anyway. We have to be, just I think more diligent than everybody is being. Lackadaisical with security, right? Our e-commerce session yesterday, use this for e-commerce, use that. Well, you're plugging people like in now to your gateway to receive money or Stripe or whatever they're doing. There are shady characters out there, and as much as AIs, we've all experienced how much it's helping us and our workflow and everything else. It's doing that for the bad guys too, right? So now they can do things easier. So
I see another comment from Brian, who also says the dark web has your cell. He says that Manus is pricey. I'll say Manus it does cost money if you want to use all the features. However, if it saves me 4 hours of my time, even in the ChatGPT era, if it saves me 4 hours of my time on one project, I have to say, if I'm worth $5 an hour, which is a shockingly low dollar amount, if I'm worth $5 an hour, then those 4 hours equals the $20. So I think if you're dealing with a project that you're working on and it saves you 1 hour a week, and you say, was that worth $5? I would think the answer is yes. Don't go get 100 softwares for $20 each and say it's $2,000. But at the same time, maybe with that $2,000 software bill, you made $2 million. So there's a trade-off, and the people who want to succeed and get their output out there, they're going to say, yeah, you know what? I got 10 tools that were $20 each, but for that $200, I got the work of 10 men and 10 women.
True.
Yeah, Brad, I think that's really the point there is that we have access to teams of people to do things in seconds than what we ever had before. All these things are taking committees and multiple meetings and people sitting around a room talking about it and going over and over it before anything was actually developed or produced. Now you can just talk about it, get something out there, and then have meaningful conversations on what things should be changed with a group of people.
Brooks, that's the birth of the AI catch-up, as we said as a group. Why not, instead of having a marketing meeting, why don't we just go live about the AI catch-up and say, what do people want to catch up on?
Right.
Oh, and Michael came up with the solution. He's going to use his Google phone number. Oh, that's
I was
good.
going to bring that up. Having a burner number these days isn't a terrible idea. The things that's bad about using your cell phone for things like that is, say, maybe that's linked to your bank account and you get like a text pin, or maybe you have a bunch of Bitcoin or something associated with that phone number to get, again, do a text pin. Those would be the types of things you really need to worry about. But from a privacy perspective, I think pretty much everything has your phone number, but knowing who your phone number is associated and then trying to steal that number for you and then like empty your bank account is something to consider as an issue there. But I think there's way more things to worry about these days than just giving out your phone number to an app like this. I suppose the other part of this is that Manus is, it's not in the United States, so there might be some other implications of things that you might want to consider there. But I think it's fairly safe to give your phone number out these days for the most part. But use a burner number if you have one. I think that's probably the better way to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, Brian's comment that he's too spoiled by the insane productivity of AI. I have to agree with you, Brian. It does feel like we're spoiled by the productivity. For all of us who remember 2019 and 2020, before modern AI software, we did this stuff with thinking and typing for weeks on end. Anyone who's ever done the website copy and spent 8 long 10-hour days grinding out the website copy only for a tool like this to give it to you in 7 minutes, you're sort of astonished. You'd say, well, that used to cost my entire week of all-day work, and now here it is in the time it takes to sip a coffee.
Right. And imagine if this stuff was out during, kind of the first year of the pandemic, we'd all been like trapped into our house, but we'd have had all these amazing tools, Didn't come out.
People would have been making movies or something, There would have been way cooler things going on.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then Michael comes around. He says if it has no or low hallucinations, he'll look at it. I think, Michael, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Guys, I think that's a catch-up today. I think that's a really good catch-up. I think, again, for anybody that wants to look into more, circle around to Brooks. He's going to be posting a course in the next 7 days. And I think there's a ton to learn about with this software and the ways you can use it to expand your business. I know Harvey wanted us to do his $1 million prompt of making $1 million business. Maybe when he returns, we'll talk about that. But there are real people making real money using these softwares. And it's one of those things that's your aspirational goal. If you say, I want to make a bunch of money or really get my project out there, consider coming around to Brooks's course and learning more from the catch-up.
Totally.
And here's a couple of links. If you go to aicatchup.live/tools, you can see all the tools we've been talking about. If you go /courses, that's where you can also see the courses. And then, of course, you can see what our upcoming shows are as well. Mm-hmm. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter.
Great.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great week, everybody. More
Thank you.
Gamma tomorrow, other things. The latest, of course.
Step right up, it's time to hear the cleverest show of the year. AI catch up, brighter tone every week in your living room.